Hello, welcome. Welcome. My hello sounds weird to me. I've listened to my podcasts and I don't not like the way I say hello. I just say hello like hello. Like as a comedian, I'm a comedian. I'm fixing the camera and I've done acting. I was on strike. But the cool thing about being an actor when you go on strike is, to be honest, and this is in the thing, I wasn't working anywhere. Like that's an actor joke. We were on strike for a while, and I was like, I think I've been on strike as an actor for a long time. That's the best way to handle rejection. Just be like, yeah, I was morally opposed to working. Okay, I gotta fix this. Hold on, everybody, just hold on. My camera is my phone. We're back. We're back in the studio, everybody. Thank you for being here. Hello, sleepers. Thank you for being here. Also feels a little repetitive. Thank you for being. Why am I saying thank you for being? You're not even here right now. Where are you? Where are you, and how is that going? That's what I should be saying. How is your your listening area going? And hello to the things around you, because I'm not really there. I'm here, and not that I wouldn't want to be where you are, um, but I'm here. I that it's funny. Uh, as a parent, I I don't like it when I say as a parent because I am a parent. So everything I do as a parent, but I feel like there are moments in your day where you're like, yeah, I would rather be any. You ever have that moment in your life? I used to have that moment sometimes, and it's more of an attitude, I think, than anything else, where it's like you see people, do you ever do that game where you see strangers on the street and you're like, I would switch with them, I would switch with them, I would switch with them, because you don't really know their problems. They don't seem like they have problems. Anyway, as a parent, it feels like everything could be a problem because you have to make sure this little guy does it too. So hello, hello. For me, it feels like I'm just trying to start the pot. I should just be like, and three podcasts. My podcast should begin like an Olympic race. Just shoot a gun off. That would be. I just got my kid to sleep podcast would be a difficult one to have the Olympic starter pistol be the. I don't think there's a podcast out there that does it. I don't name me a podcast that has an Olympic starter pistol to. Isn't that's that's how they start races in the Olympics right now? Guns just going off, just like run. It's so. I mean, on one hand, it gets the job done. You hear the thing and you go. But coming back to my racing days, and if there's any sprinters listening to my podcast right now, maybe you can tell me, is there a way to go, like to see the finger of the person pulling the trigger? Like, can you go on the finger and not false start? Probably not. They have computers and stuff. All right. Sometimes when if you ever read, if you ever read out there, um, if you read a book about writing scripts for TV, writers were on strike too last year. We're reliving the old strikes. Um, they tell you, like, if you leave stuff out that's not necessary, it makes it a more intriguing story because you're guiding the reader in a way that's letting them sort of put the things together with just the sparse information you've given them. And I feel like that's the way I do my podcast is I leave a lot out and just let you put it together. Like this camp. So what I was saying earlier was I'm back in the studio. This is Mr. Dr. Teeth. Hello, sleepers. Thanks for chiming in. We got the baseball back out here because it's the trade deadline, and no one's told me I've been traded yet. So, by the way, episode 21, we've been renewed for another episode, another 20 episodes, I've heard. We'll do. It was never really up in the air. I don't know. I guess it's up to me to renew it and the people around me. And I think the rule is I can have the podcast as long as I want, as long as I don't have a starter pistol start at the beginning. There's got to be a better way to start it though. Like I think when you talk to somebody and you say hello to them, that makes sense to say hello because you can see them and they can talk to you and you can talk to them now. Like, you can't just walk up to somebody and just go into the thing you want to talk to them about. I mean, you can. Sometimes I try to do that. Not literally, but if I have a question for somebody about something to do with work, like how do you put your phone on the thing so it's straight and not at an angle when you film your podcast? And I know someone knows the answer. I've found that if I'm close enough to the person to ask, I feel like I'm close enough to the person to not have to be like, "Hi, how are you?" "Good, I'm good too." "Hey, yeah, was your weekend nice?" "Nice, nice, nice." Now, the real reason I'm reaching out. Like, I feel like if I know someone well enough to ask them for help, I can just be like, "Hey," in my head, be like, "I know we're friends. You know we're friends. You know that this isn't the only way we communicate. But I need you for something, and that's why I'm talking to you." And people might think that's rude. I don't know. People out there. I think if you're going to ask someone for a favor or a business thing, I think it's nicer for me. Because, like, sometimes if someone reaches out to me and they say, "Hey, how's it going?" I get excited that we're going to have a little conversation, a little texting conversation, a little, like, back and forth. Maybe quote some favorite movie lines, Like, when I was in college, there's a thing called AOL, AIM, and I think it's still around. But it was really hot back then. And I remember hopping on that thing, and I remember one time I messaged one of my best friends from high school. The only words in the conversation were Happy Gilmore quotes. We just were in different colleges, different dorm rooms, typing, basically re-screenwriting Happy Gilmore in different places. And so when you hear from somebody who you really like talking to, and then you find out they're just asking for something, I would rather just know from the beginning that they're asking for something and then go from there. But that's not how people act, the people that really know you, I think they genuinely talk to you in a way that makes you feel like, "Hey, we're friends, but I need help on this thing." And we'll get back to the friend stuff later, or we'll do the help as a friend. Then the people that are kind of like maybe not in your life that much, but just are because they need your help, there's a little bit more schmoozing, I guess, which I'm fine with in one sense because I like the attention. As a comedian, that's my big flaw. That's my kryptonite, my weakness, my everything is you wonder why people go on stage and tell jokes. I don't know why a lot of people do it. I haven't really asked anybody. There's no guests on this podcast to ask. If I did have comedians on the show, I think that's one thing that I've never, like, you see a lot of interviews, you hear a lot of interviews with other comedians. I don't think anybody ever really asks, "Why do you do that?" Maybe that's a good podcast. Listen, we're still in this podcast. I'm not talking about going on another podcast because I'm committed to this clearly. This is a emotionally monologue with people listening, heavy, intimate podcast. The relationship between me and the viewers is so special because the viewers are special in the sense that if you took the percentage of viewers out of the people of the world, it would be like you'd win the lottery. Like those people out of the world, like you're one in, it's a special group just numbers wise. And I'm not going to bail for some podcast called "Why Do You Do That?" Because first off, here's the reason. I talk to myself in my bathroom for very logistical reasons. This podcast is called "I Just Got My Kid to Sleep." That's the rule. I very rarely break that rule. Out of 20 episodes, this is 21. I probably broke that rule maybe once or twice because I physically was in another state that I was not able to put my kid to sleep. My kid was taken care of. someone who loved him, put him to bed. But that's the main rule. Because today earlier, I was tempted to do an episode and call it, I just got my kid to school. But I didn't. I didn't do that because not only would I be letting myself down, I would be letting all of you down if that was the part of the podcast that made you keep listening. For some reason in my head, I think it is that you want to see I mean, I don't think people want to see a person struggle, but I think there is sort of a little bit of like, you're going to do something after your kid goes to sleep. Let's see that. Like, that's the premise. Episode 21, we're really figuring out where we're coming. The whole hook that I'm realizing now, the whole idea is like a person. And if you look at the picture on the cover, it's just me being like, you know, something like that. Like if you're listening, that this isn't a quality part of the podcast to listen to because I'm just like acting it out, but I'm just like hand in my head. Like, funny story, background about those pictures. I do everything myself, not out of pride or I'm good at it, but you know, when you're a dad, you look at your money and you're like, well, I value artists too. I value photographers a lot. I value people who do graphics. I think they all could do it way better than me. I had a friend. He's still my friend, and I posted pictures or whatever about my shows, and he was like, "Oh, you hired someone to do that." And at first, I was complimented because I didn't hire someone to do it, but then I was like, "Oh, maybe it's bad." And he's like, "Why are you spending money on it's bad?" And I didn't know whether that was a good thing or not because maybe it was just good enough to where someone thought I didn't do it, but bad enough to where it's like it's not helping. And he didn't know how to tell me that. Sometimes it's easier to have people in your life who are kind of like not super nice, but they'll tell you the worst way to describe your life, and then you know like that's not the real bar. That's not really where your life is. That's just like where they're seeing your life. And they have a really bad attitude and they're not necessarily like a good judge of your life. But that's like the very worst you could perceive your life to be. And sometimes it's good to have those people because you can be like, oh, the way they just described my life to me, well, I could live with that. And that's not even real. You know, that's the bottom rung. But then the people who are like really nice, which I feel like I grew up around, which is nice to have family that are nice and friends that are most of my friends. Those are great, but then when something's wrong and you're maybe not perfect, that's exactly right in your life, they don't say like, dude, stop doing that, or what are you doing? That's the worst thing you ever. They're just like, did you hire someone to make a poster for your show? Is that what you? Oh, that's nice. Like, instead of being like, dude, that sucks. I don't know. And maybe I'm in my head a little too much. So anyways, I'm not bailing on this relationship for a podcast called why do you do that? Because then I'd have to, there's no room, first off. And my time, you know, I guess I could schedule in guests, but then you got to get another mic and all. It's not happening. This is it. This is the relationship. And you're not getting out of it, just so you know that. This isn't going away. Sure, you can not listen or not download or not watch. You can do that, but I'll still be here, and somewhere deep down inside, you'll know that I'm here, and then you'll have to come back because there's nowhere else to go. There is no one else in the world that's doing a podcast where they've sort of considered starting it with an Olympic starter pistol because they don't like being like, hello. That's what I don't like about saying hello. Because I feel like it's insincere. It feels insincere. That's the problem. Hello. This is a podcast where I deconstruct my episode so far. Hello. I guess if this was a person here, I would just look into their eyes and be like, hi. That's how I would do it. Maybe I'll start doing that. Hi. Let's sit. Hi. Like I've been waiting for this moment all week, and there is nothing that will take me away from it. Hi. I like that. We discovered that together in a way. I did just get my kids to sleep, and then I talked to my mom, but I thought this was gonna be the episode where I walked out of the bedroom into through the living area. I can't see this. It's straight. I don't know. So the camera is on a tripod, and I feel like the camera, if you put it, the phone, then it could angle because you can't put the. I feel like you put the phone in the middle, it could touch the volume or thing. Anyways, none of that made sense. But I thought this would be the episode where I left the child's room and I walked through the living room, not to brag. But between my bedroom and my child's bedroom, I have a living room. Yeah, I know. What? I haven't even made money off this podcast. That's just money from other things. Not to bring up money in the pocket. I'm not here to this is not something. Anyway, I have a living room. I walked through that, and I thought I would walk into my bedroom and then into the bathroom, which the bathroom is, you have to walk through the bathroom in this house, in this apartment. Tell me this, if you would, how you think about this. You in this apartment, you have to walk through a bedroom to get to a bathroom. That's how my apartment works, which is not. I lived in other apartments where there's a bathroom right by the bedroom, but you don't have to walk through the bedroom, which I think that's better because someone could be sleeping and you don't have to go into the bedroom to use the bathroom. And whoever thought of this apartment did not think about that. I don't know what they were thinking, really. I don't think it's a bad apartment, but I don't think it's the best apartment. And I don't know what it was before. Part of me feels like it might have been like a hotel where they combined the rooms or something, because it just has this feeling of like generality. Like my old apartment had didn't have all the stuff. It didn't have a dishwasher. It didn't have laundry. It didn't have central air. But it had like really nice hardwood floors, like the nicest like my mom, who, they own a house where they can put floors. They were like, these are nice hardwood floors. And it was a long apartment. So like you could be in the back where the bedroom is and turn on the window area AC unit and not hear anything up front. And which was perfect for having a young baby, because you could put them in there and they like to sleep where it's cold and then come out and live your life. And that was all perfect. And then the bathroom, there was one bathroom and it was outside of the bedroom. So you didn't have to wake up anybody. Because I don't know about you, but I think I'm a light sleeper. No one really knows if they're a light sleeper, right? Except the people that sneak around your house while you're asleep. Those are the only real people who know if you're a light sleeper. I think at some point my son will find out whether I'm a light sleeper. My son doesn't know whether I'm a light sleeper right now. He knows that when he says, "Dad, it's morning," I go in there, because we still have a monitor, and that's how we communicate. And I can hear him also, even without the monitor. I know that because I've turned it on. I'm not proud of it. I've never turned off the monitor in my child's life on purpose. I have turned it pretty low. Like it has 5 lights, and at the highest, it gets red. That means that your child is screaming. It also means that if you were recording it for reproduction for a video, the audio might be unusable because it's off the charts. I don't know if that's true. Then it goes into to green. I think it's just red and green. There's no yellow. I'd go get it, but it's a whole thing. and then there's like 3 green ones, and I used to turn it down to when he was a baby. This is where it progressed to. So, oh wow, it's tomorrow. Some people criticize like, oh, after midnight's tomorrow, but I think it's an easy way to say it's after midnight. My son's been asleep for a little bit. He didn't go to bed. Went to bed kind of early, but I talked to my mom. We'll talk about that. So the baby monitor, when my son was a baby, I would have it on high because they're waking up all the time, and you're so tired that you don't know where you're. One time, when my son was a baby, I found myself just on the couch, and I didn't know how I got there, which may not seem like an extremely extreme story. Like, I feel like if you're in college and you're at a party and you drink too much, you might end up, I don't know, not remembering how you got to your bed or to the couch or whatever. And that's cooler or funnier. But it's a little crazy when you've had no alcohol and you're just so zapped of sleep that like you got your kid fed and then you put them back in their bed and then you just woke up in a different room. That's a little weird. But yeah, I don't know what I was really. So, oh yeah, so when they're a baby, he gotta wake up, I don't want, so it was on a higher one. And then the older they got, the quieter I made it to the point where, it was down to like just one light, and that's where it is now. Just one volume. And also I put his in his bathroom, so it's not right by his bed anymore. And that sounds like I'm being fun, like maybe not funny, but like I'm being like, oh, let's hide it. But it really was when he was younger, he would like reach through the gate or he would like kind of pull at it and stuff. So I had to move it. And then I think a babysitter put it in the bathroom, and that's just where it stayed. I didn't think it was a bad idea. It's a noisy apartment. It's not like the other one. Like this one has more stuff, but the other one was more functional. In a way, like I like having a separate bedroom for my child, but that's kind of, and all the other stuff that come with it. But I really liked having the long, narrow. I like someone to be able to sleep and people being able to be out in the living room. Like if I wanted to just sleep, and my son's 5, so I've done the thing where I'm like, we're gonna take a nap, and he doesn't take a nap, and he's like playing or whatever. But like if I really wanted to sleep and have like someone watch him, I wouldn't be able to do it really in my apartment because it's so loud. It's all one space. Anyway, the dream today was to walk out of his bedroom. He's asleep. I just got my kid to sleep and walk through the living room and then walk through my bedroom, which by the way, that's what I was talking about. I don't like the bathroom to walk through because when I feel like I'm a light sleeper, and the only person that really knows that is people that sneak around my bedroom at night. And no one does that. But like, I've definitely woken up on things that are not loud. Like when I was in college, I would just wake up and very much a light sleeper. And if someone walks in to your room while you're asleep and you do wake up, that is the most abrupt thing that could ever happen in the sleep moment. Like to go to bed in a room where there's no other people, and then to wake up in a room where there's another person, how am I going to go back to sleep after that? What's that? What meditation do I listen to for that? The person in your room is safe. Yeah, but I didn't expect them. Like, when I visit my parents, my room, that was the room I lived in when I lived there, it gets very hot in the summer and very cold in the winter. It's basically a treehouse. It just faces the sun, and whatever it is out there, it's just that way. And so in the winter, you wear a lot of blankets, and in the summer, even though there's air conditioning, you just get fans. And we had a fan that you put water in the fan, not dangerous way, but like it somehow turns the water into cool air. And but you got to refill it, and it was a new thing. And apparently, like, I just landed late that night and I was sleeping, and it was the best sleep ever. Like as a parent, when you have that first night where you don't have to wake up early, whether you're on the road for work or your significant other has got it, whatever it is, you just sleep. You sleep, and I was in that sleep, and then someone opened the door. My mom just opened the door, and she's like, she put water in the thing, and she was like, your dad said that it would break if it didn't fill with water, and he said you wouldn't wake up. Well, he didn't think I'd wake up. He didn't think that I'd wake. No, my dad wouldn't wake up. My dad is not a light sleeper. My dad wakes up. My dad does not wake up. When he does, it's the scariest thing ever. I might have talked about that already, but as a kid, when my dad would fall asleep before dinner on the in his chair, and my mom would be like, "Go wake your dad for dinner," and I'd be like, "No," because my dad would wake up. He's like, It was like he was reliving an old war memory, and he was never in the war. Anyway, I don't think I can live in an apartment with other people where the only bathrooms are in bedrooms, but not in bed, but connected bedrooms. But that's where I'm at right now, and maybe it'll change. But if I'm ever looking for a new place, I don't know. I looked for places like that, and those didn't exist. And so, yeah. My dream was today. So here's the thing. In the past, when I've done the podcast, I say I just got my kid to sleep, but really I had to set up everything. But today was very special. Jack was like, we ate lunch, which was really dinner, but he called it lunch because he wanted, I think in his brain, he wants me to know that he's eating again no matter what I say. I have to sneeze. Man, that sneeze was so long, I could have monetized it with advertising and cut it out. Anyway, it used to be we would eat dinner, and I would be like, all right, this is it, you know? I had a song. It would say, this is dinner. No more food after this. Yummy, yummy, yummy in my tummy, tummy, tummy. No more food after this. This is dinner. Yummy, yummy, yummy in my tummy, tummy, tummy. No more food after this. That's the song that we would sing during dinner. Because at a very young age, which I think a lot of children do, my son discovered that I cared whether he ate or not. That was important to me. And he knew that if he asked for food, I would let him stay up later because I'd be so happy to see him eat, which I am. He's right. There's nothing I can do about it. When my child, the person I'm supposed to provide for and feed and grow, is like, food? Like, as a 2-year-old, food. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll make you whatever you will eat. Like I feel like that's where it benefits to have two parents at home at night, because the one could be like, he does this every night, don't do that. But like, I think I was just like, I'm getting him food, you know? And he knows that. And so I started singing the song, and that worked for a little bit. All of my tricks work for a little bit. Not all. Well, if they work for a little bit. My other food trick, this is the part of the podcast that if you're a parent, I know it's in the middle of the podcast, maybe near the, I don't know. But this is a thing that worked for a long time and still kind of works. And I have to devote this section of my I just got my kid to sleep podcast to all my great acting teachers, because I drew upon all of those skills. If you're ever in LA, you want to take an acting class, Leslie Kahn is great. Trish was with I don't think she's teaching there anymore, but she was great. But because my trick, it's a trick, to get my kid to eat, was I would make a plate of food. Like I would get like vegetables or whatever, or like some meat, some steak or chicken, and I'd make them in little pieces, and then I put them on his plate, and then be like, hey, this is just for dad, so don't eat that. And that's where my acting classes came in, because I was very like subtle. Here's how good of an actor I am. I would go to him and I'd be like, this is just for dad, so don't eat that. There's no room on my plate, so I got to put it on your plate, but don't eat that. And then he would eat it immediately, which isn't always good, because then they're not eating because they're hungry. They're eating because they want to steal your food, and that's not good for your brain. Like, your brain should be able to tell you, I'm hungry, let's eat. Not like, I'm going to get dad's food. I'm going to play this game with dad. Because then, like, how are they going to learn how to eat and grow? But I didn't really think about that until just now. But here's how good of an actor I am, thanks to all my wonderful teachers, which, you know, these are free shout-outs. The acting studio in Chicago, or the Green Room studio, is really good, too, in Chicago. Act 1 was, and Second City was one. Anyways, all these places. I don't want to take credit for my skills. I learned them. Here's how good it was. I was at dinner. I think it was Thanksgiving. I was sitting next to my older brother, who has 3 children, and then my son. And I got like turkey and like some vegetables, and I put them on his plate. And I was like, hey, this is just for Dad. Don't eat this. My plate's not, it's full right now, but I'm going to eat this, so just don't eat this. And he started eating it, and I was like, no. This is my food. No. And my older brother was like, it's good that he eats. You should be happy he's eating. And I'm just like, man, I might never get an Oscar. But I convinced another adult. I think my dad I convinced too one time that I really wanted that food. I was like, clear. Yeah, of course. What do you think about it's little tiny pieces of meat. Look at the situation. When you become a comedian, you get skills that people that have other jobs don't have, and they're not very. Sometimes they're not useful all the time, but that was one where it worked. Where I put my creativity and my acting, and being like, hey, that's Dad's food. Don't eat that. Don't eat. Not in a mean way. I wasn't like, hey, don't eat that food. That's Dad's food. Because there's kids are smart. You know, you got to do it enough so they believe it's a game because of the context. That's why they're doing it. But you got to do it. You can't be annoying with it. Anyway, that really distracted me. That's what this is a distraction. So it's okay if it's a distraction. It's not a distraction. Whatever you're paying attention to, you should pay attention to. You don't have to distract. Like, why would I be distracting? What would I have to distract myself from? I'm perfectly great. Everything's great. Anyway, my son knows that he can eat food. He knows. I have a friend. This is a good tip too, which I never tried it, but he said with his children, my friend Matt from college and Liz, they said when their child was at that age where they started being like, I'm hungry, so they didn't have to go to bed, he would just get like a spoon of peanut butter and just be like, all right, this is what you get to eat. If you want this, because then if they are hungry, that fills you up and helps you sleep, I guess. And if they're not hungry, they're like, this isn't a game. And it sounds like it worked. It never worked for me because I never tried it. Because I feel like to do that, you need to really, I don't know what the word is, parent your child. No, I just have my own personal things where I kind of believe that if my son wants food and it's because he wants to stay up later, on some level he does want food. And if he does want food, I want him to be able to have the food that his body thinks he needs and not just be have to force down peanut butter. Not that force down peanut butter, but like only have one option, especially if I have other food. Like if you only have peanut butter, that's what your kid eats. That's fine. I ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all the time as a kid. But anyway, my son knows that he can get food. And I started to say recently that I didn't do the song really anymore because he's grown out of the no more food after this. I was trying to remember it because I said, this is dinner. That's what you have to do. You have to say the word and say, yummy, 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 in my tummy, tummy, tummy. If you were listening to the podcast and you weren't a fan of me or listened before, I think you've tuned out definitely by now. You're like, not hearing that song again. Anyway, it could be a hit, you know? Whenever I post these on YouTube, they're like, is this video made for kids? That's what they ask you. If you don't know that, when you post something on YouTube, they ask you straight up, is this video made for kids? Which is weird because it's like, why you got to bring kids into this, you know? That's just like a weird question. Like, is this for... Because kids' videos blow up fast. I think they want to know if it's like for them. But it's also just like, I can make stuff for adults, you know? But I think... there's no box, but I would really like to be like, the video isn't for good, but there's a small part that they might really like where it's like, this is dinner. Yummy, 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 in my tummy, tummy, tummy. No more food after this. Here's what's good about that song is the third line is the whole reason I'm singing the whole song, which is so the first line, this is dinner. a sort of celebratory. This is dinner. It's not a negative. It's not like eat your food or you're going to go hungry and you're not getting any more. It's like, no, this is the moment of dinner. This is dinner. This is dinner. This. Look at all of when Jack was a baby. I would, if he was eating something, because sometimes they don't eat, I would just start being like, let's put more food on there. Like, let's ride this hot streak. I felt like I was in Vegas. Oh, we got broccoli right now. Throw in some cauliflower. See what happens. Get some steak in there. And if they weren't eating, like, I would just go directly to bread. Just be like, well, he'll eat bread all the time. And then I would mix in the stuff later. Not mixed in it, but just like, well, you like bread? Oh, you know what's similar to bread is cheese. Oh, you like cheese? You know what's similar to cheese is turkey. No, you don't want turkey? You don't eat turkey. Yeah, I apologize. For some reason, I want to this is my turkey. Don't you dare eat that turkey. Oh, you're too young to get that yet? This is going back way too far. Anyway, the song, the first line, this is dinner, is a celebratory statement. This is dinner. It doesn't come from a place of anger or frustration or anything like that. It's just like, this is, and then the second line, yummy, yummy, yum, is like, this, you can't even, I don't think those are words. Maybe yummy is in the dictionary now, but they're more like onomatopoeias, right? I don't know. An onomatopoeia is that thing. Okay. This is not. But like, it's when, like in the old Batman TV show, when they say thwack or pow or wham, it's like when you hit something, you make a sound. I don't think yummy is it, but it's like a feeling. It's like yummy, yum. It's like we can't use adult words anymore because this food has brought so much joy to my whole being. Yummy, yummy. So, just a little background on where I'm at in the podcast right now. I feel like that I'm really enjoying breaking down this song, which I think is a good sign that other people might enjoy this, but it also could be a bad sign that I'm enjoying it and not aware that nobody asked me about it. Nobody asked me about any of this, but this is not only am I sharing a fictional it's a real song, but like there's no music, but I'm going into it as if that's a path that has value for the world. I'm going into it hard. There's 3 lines to the song, and I am going into it hard, deep, fully, like in analyze. So anyway, yummy, yummy, that's important. I didn't think about it before I wrote it. I didn't really write it. I was just talking. I was just sitting there with my son on the ground because when I got my apartment, I was like, you always got to sit up. Well, why don't you sit on the ground? So I got him a little chair. We should sit at your level sometimes. And then he's never left that chair, even though he's 5 now, and he would fit in a normal chair, basically. He sits on the ground in my house. Which, whole cultures to eat dinner on the ground. Maybe that's how it started, I don't know anything about it, but I've heard in, like, if you go to a Japanese restaurant or like some Asian, I think people sit on the ground and eat. And there's a great reverence for that. And there should be. There 100% should be. There's a great centering maybe, or like connection to one's spiritual. I don't know the reason, but I'm sure it is of value and should be respected. But I also like the idea that maybe one parent had a baby and he was like, you know what, we're all sitting at tables. Why don't we sit down at your level one day? And then that baby would never sit anywhere else, even as an adult. And then the whole culture became eating on the ground. Because that could be my son's origin story. So anyway, yummy, yummy, yum. Like food, it makes you feel. And then the third line is the real turn. It's where it really turns. Because the first line, this is dinner, that's just what you're doing. It's exciting. The second line brings it to another level. Like, you want to know how good it is? Yummy. I know you thought it might be yummy because it is. I have a blue crayon in my hand. There was a blue crayon just right here. Side note, if you couldn't tell because of the tone of my blue is my kid's favorite color, and there are blue crayons around the house everywhere. My not necessarily, but one right there. Anyway, yummy, yummy. If you couldn't get from the "This Is Dinner" tone that we're singing it in a happy manner, yummy, yummy, yummy will show you that you're having a good time and that you're liking this. And then the third is where it takes a little twist. No more food after this. That's where it kind of takes a turn, because you've been listening to this whole song, my 2, 3, 4-year-old son, now 5. You've been listening to this whole song thinking I was on your side, that we were having dinner together, that this was a meal of joy, a meal of fun and of sustenance, and of something that wasn't just a meal anymore. It was something being sung about, like in the old Lord of the Rings books. Not that there are new ones, but they would just start singing for no reason, and it was a book, so you didn't even know the tune, but it was just written as a song. And we have taken that historic culture and brought it to this meal where we're just singing. And maybe that's a bad example, but I feel like singing as a group was something that happened before there was really entertainment. And you brought that to my life, Dad. That was all from Jack's perspective. And then the third line, no more food after this. That's a trick. That's a trick. That is me being like, oh, you thought this was a fun little song? That's what you thought? Ha! I just got you to agree to certain specific terms of no more food after this because of your enthusiasm for the original lines of this song. Boom, 3-year-old Jack, you're in it now. No more food after this. Your smiling and going along with the first 2 lines of the song is explicit complicity to the final line of the song. No more food after this. No more food after this. No more. I don't say it like that, though. It's no more food after this. Like, right? Just like This Is Dinner. We're just as happy. No more food after this. So that's that song. And it worked for a little while, but it stopped working because I want him to eat. So anyway, recently though, I did the song a little bit, but it didn't work. But I started to be like, hey Jack, this is dinner. We're done. There's no more food. So if you're really done eating, you're really done eating. And so then today he did a thing during dinner. We came home from school, played a little Mario Party 9 on the Wii. We just got Mario Party 9, which I'm not as happy about. I'll probably get into this on a podcast where I have more time. Here's the thing. I don't know if I ever told this story. So I lived in an apartment with people. Now I just live with my son. He's a person, but like we're related. We're together. We're a group. He's never gonna be like, Dad, I'm gonna find my own place. I mean, maybe when he's older, you can hope. But maybe I'll have a house by then. Anyway, I lived with people and they had a Nintendo Wii and nobody played it ever. The guy that I was subletting my room from, it was his and he was living in New York, and so no one ever played it. And then the apartment broke up. It imploded. It was done. We were all going our own ways. And my roommate who was friends with him was like, you can take this if you want it. So, and I love video games. Like I was never really good at them. And if you know anything about the old video games, it was hard to beat them. Like there wasn't a lot of saving. There wasn't like games nowadays they encourage you. The way to like beat a game, I feel like from my experience now is like, there's all these other like tricks and stuff that help you play it to like 100% or whatever. But like when it started, there was just like, this is the game and it's pretty hard and there's no way to save it. There's passwords so you can skip ahead once you learn them. So I wasn't ever good. I'd never really beaten a game. It took me like literally like 14 years of playing Legend of Zelda, the first one to figure out they have to shoot an arrow through the seventh guy's eye. Anyway, and it was very satisfying when I finally did it. But now so anyways, I was like, no, we're not just gonna throw away this Wii. So I packed it up, I cleaned it out, because like batteries will leave. I don't know if I finished the food thought. Did I finish the food thought? I don't think I did. Well, that's definitely something I'm coming back to. If you're listening right now, don't worry. I'm going to get to where that was going. But anyways, if you have an old toy or whatever, wherever there's batteries in, you should take the batteries out if you're not using it. New tip. This is a good tip for parents. I just got my kid. This tip is brought to you by I Just Got My Kid to Sleep, a podcast that's supposed to be more parenting focused in some ways. And sometimes people get disappointed that it's not. So if you have a toy or whatever, anything with batteries in it, that'll be weird. But like whatever, like flashlights, if you're not using this thing and there's batteries in it, you got to take the batteries out. Otherwise they oxidize, which I think is the term. I took chemistry and I don't know if that's the term, but it definitely looks like it's all rusty. And if you touch it, the acid will burn your face and turn you into a Batman villain. That's what it looks and feels like. I didn't touch it, but it feels like. And so normally, if that had happened in my life previously, I would just be like, well, we're throwing that item away. But these were Wii controllers, Nintendo Wii controllers that had like oxidized, so the batteries were like all crusted with this like acid that had leaked from the battery. And so I looked it up online, and you just sort of clean it with like a Q-tip. You should look it up. This isn't instructional. This is not don't tell me that I told you how to do it and it didn't work out. Look it up on YouTube. There's people that know that. But basically, you take a Q-tip. Now I'm describing it. You take a Q-tip and you put it, I think, in vinegar and water, and you just clean it out. Maybe it was alcohol and water. I don't think I had alcohol, though. But you just clean it out, and then you air it out, and then it works as good as new. As good as new. Really? Is it as good as new? Anyway, so I got it all ready. I packed it up, and then I put it in a box, the box that came in, and then it ended up back in my apartment. Then when Jack and I had this and moved in, and I put it in the closet. It was like I guess I found out later that's a linen closet. Did you know I have a linen closet in my apartment? Usually a linen closet is separate from someone's room, but in this apartment it's in my room. I just thought it was like cabinets in the wall, and but it's not. I looked. There was someone moving out below me. We talked about that, and their apartment was for rent. And I looked at the plan, and it said there was a linen closet below, like that had cabinets that open. I was like, oh wow, I had no idea. So I keep my linens there now. I did before too, but now I feel better about it. I feel like, oh yeah, this is where you guys go. And if my son gets older and he's getting his own linens, I can be like, this is where we put them. And it's a shame that you have to walk through my room to get them, but just let me know and I can send them to you. So and I put it in my linen closet. It's a huge linen closet, by the way. It's like normally a linen closet is just like the door. It's like the size of a door and the depth of, I'd say, the width of 40 doors. I don't. That's a estimate. I'm not a linen closet width specialist. But I would say if you take a width of a door and multiply it by 40, you get close to where you're talking. Maybe someday I'll measure. But it's like huge, Anyway, I put it in there. And then one day when my son was 3, he pulled it out. He just was reaching there. He pulled it out, and he knew about DVD players. He pulled out the Wii, and so he liked that things go into with like a CD. And then we started playing Wii. And I had Mario Party 8 when I was like younger, and I never played it. And then he loved it, and we loved it, and we loved it. And then he found out about Mario Party 9, and we found it last week in a GameStop in Schaumburg, Illinois, after visiting the Peppa Pig World. And I was like, well, this is meant to be, And then we brought it home, and I don't think it's as good as Mario Party 8. I used to not like Mario Party 8. But then I started to understand the intricacies of the competition, and Mario Party 9 just feels like they took a lot of the stuff that made it more cutthroat and more of like, this is a competitive game, and turned into like, oh, this like fun thing, and more like random. Like I felt like in Mario Party 8, you could really control the like how you roll. It's like a board game, but for a video game. I feel like you could really control the dice on the thing, kind of. But on Mario Party 9, it just feels random. Anyway, that was less about video games and more about the disappointment in something new. Like, just because something's new and different doesn't mean it's going to fix what's in here, Jack. These are all for you. Jack, just because something is new and different and it might be not better than what you have. And so just because you get that thing, maybe you don't rush out to get it. Maybe you just see if you come across it and see if you line up with it because now we have Mario Party 9 and I want to go play Mario Party 8, but I'm the adult. So when my kid wants to play video games, what am I supposed to do? Just be like, no, we're playing this, you know? It's a stupid problem. Anyway, the main thing was we were playing video games and then I was like, all right, then we're going to eat dinner. And he's like, no, that'll be lunch. And that's how he got me because we just came home from school. It wasn't that late yet. It was like 5. And I was like, all right, yeah, this is lunch now. When I thought we could get a dinner in at 5. I thought we could do dinner at 5. And then he's like, dinner will be later. But lunch was dinner. I warmed up chicken and sweet potatoes, which he didn't eat at all, even though I was like, this is just for Dad. It's dead now. It's all dead. Nothing works anymore. And he did have avocado, which is a superfood. So, Super Dad. I have a Super Dad trophy next to me if you're just listening for the first time and not watching. And then we took a bath and we FaceTimed with my parents. And then I lost to Mario Party 9 again. And then he was like, oh, now it's time for dinner, which it wasn't really dinner. It was like a snack. Like he was like, I want macaroni and cheese. And I want, what was the thing that he wanted that wasn't good? It wasn't that it wasn't good. It was corn on the cob. I made him corn on the cob earlier, and he had it and ate all of it. I was like, I don't want to make another one. You know, you got to boil it. It takes a long time. But I did. He didn't really eat much of it. He had applesauce. And then he got dessert. And he's like, that's dinner. And I was like, no, you just tricked me. You just tricked me into 2 meals, even though, because I asked him, I was like, did you have lunch at school? And he's like, yeah, but I didn't get to pick it. And I'm like, and I was like, oh, okay. Sometimes I'm definitely, if you listen, you know, I'm way too easy, but if you give me an answer, I'm just happy that someone at his age put logic to it. And I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. I asked him, because at school they give him lunch, you know, breakfast, snack, and lunch. And I was like, didn't you eat lunch at school? And so why would you need lunch and dinner? And I know it's healthy to eat 5 meals over 3, so I was kind of okay with it. But I was like, and he was like, oh, but I don't get to pick it. As if, I guess maybe he didn't eat that much of it because he didn't get to pick it. I guess that makes sense. Anyway, the whole point of this story was that we're back to eating again, even though it's after dinner, and there is food after this. And so I think the song is This Is Lunch. Yummy, yummy, yummy. There will be food after this. There will be food after this. And that's great for him. And someday, when he's older, I'll figure out how to be a dad better. All right. I don't like saying all right at the end either. But this is the end. The end. The end. Have a good night or day. And I hope if you were doing something while you were listening, that you got it done in a way that was interesting. And if you weren't, if you're just watching, I'm honored. If you just spend your time solely focused, I appreciate, I feel the honor. And I will see you next time.